them now. Can't stop them now.
I'm Oscar Alexander. I'm a reporter with the Collegian.
I'm Jazmin Alvarado. I'm the news editor at the Collegian.
In recent years, ArtHop has become a street festival that's attracted over 15,000 people. This summer, city officials moved to separate ArtHop into two different events, creating the first ever Why Not Wednesday.
ArtHop is now held every first and fourth Thursday of the month, and Why Not Wednesday is held every third Wednesday of the month. We sat down with Councilman Miguel Arias to discuss why these changes came to be.
About 10 years ago, ArtHop as an event is a non-permitted event. At that point, we said, okay, we have so many people here. No organizer or group wants to be responsible for organizing 15,000 people on the street. And we're now having to pull resources away from the rest of the district because we're seeing more fights. And that happens naturally when you have that many people, you don't have any organized security, any organized police. So I made the decision as a council member for the area that we're going to cancel the August ArtHop. So then we spend the time that month of the shutdown meeting with all the organizers and vendors to figure out a better way to have the street fair component, because clearly the Fresno needs a street fair. We need to have something for young people to do during the week that doesn't charge them admission fee, right? Somewhere where they can just walk around, hang out with their friends, do what young people do, but it's not driven by a $50 concert ticket and an alcohol-driven kind of agenda. So we came up with Why Not Wednesdays. But that's kind of the background. It just got too big. Without rules, something was going to happen. And when something tragic happens, we shut everything down permanently. We don't bring it back. We just shut it down. I'll give you an example. If you Google the Gilroy Festival, there was a mass shooting, I think 3 years ago now. They haven't brought back the festival. Because when an incident occurs, they sue the organizer and they sue the municipality. In the case of ArtHop, that ArtHop indoor events are by the Arts Council. They have nothing to do with what happens in the streets. The people in the streets, none of them wanted to be on the hook for the insurance or be responsible for organizing it. So then when something happens to you guys, somebody gets hurt, who do they sue? They're going to sue the city. And so when we started seeing all the signs, just an example for you guys is a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago now, the Fresno Fair had a lot of fights. A lot of teenagers were fighting. Big mobs fight, 3, 4, it turned to 15, 20 people against 20 people. Huge fights. Yeah. What do? They said no more teenagers unaccompanied by an adult, period. Shut it down. They said, hey, teenagers don't make us money. Their parents do. So guess what? If you're between the ages of 10 and 18, you can't come with an adult. That's it. They shut down the whole thing. So we're trying to avoid having to do something that drastic. We say we don't want young people at all in a downtown street festival environment. Yeah, that's the reason.
That's good. And I know you mentioned a little bit about kind of some meetings that you had discussing what to do next. I heard from some vendors that they actually weren't involved at all.
So those who wanted to be part of it, we had a public meeting where, keep in mind that all these vendors, there was no application or permit that they got to be outside on ArtHop day, so we didn't know who they were. There was no contact list for vendors on ArtHop day. So the best we could do is say, hey, on this day we're going to be at City Hall from 5 to 8 o'clock. All of you that were vending on ArtHop day, come hear what the changes we're making, and if you want to be part of the organizing group, sign up and we'll let you in the room. Of course, the room was full, mostly of vendors that were from out of town. Some of them were in town. They complained for a couple hours, but all those who signed up to be part of the solution were at the table. What I concluded at the end was that the vast majority of them were out of town. If you live in Modesto, if you live in Bakersfield, Sacramento, or Madera, and you're just here on that Thursday selling your hot dogs for the day, you don't want to be in an organizing meeting. You once the event's settled, then you come in and apply and show up. So we did not reject anyone from being in the group, but we only invited people who want to be part of the solution for an alternative to the street fair. and those who signed up were participated in it. But the reaction has been good from vendors. We at the first event we had 95 vendors, and we had about 4,200 participants. So and with those 95 vendors, I believe 25 of them were artists. So they're selling their artwork. Yeah, so there's a place for everyone. Yeah, it's definitely the only thing I think that is fair is everyone's upset about how we did it. I'm responsible for that. But I can tell you, if I would have done it the other way, which is, hey, let's sit down and let's discuss all these issues, we would have been here for 6 months. And a major incident would have happened and the whole thing would have shut down. And for me, the major incident is not the publicity that we would get for downtown not being safe, is that somebody would get hurt. And once we know, I'm not gonna stand in here and let somebody be shot when I knew we could have avoided it just by putting better structures and better organization.